many organs in the body. But the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
ITV, certainly the best.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the live studios of Independent Television, Radio, Communication Village, Gosa Oluku. It is 60 Minutes Nigeria. I'm your host, Egosa Agbonlao, and I have with me very distinguished personalities today because we're looking at something that has to do with the everyday life of a citizen of this wonderful country. We're looking at what transpired on Tuesday, 10th of February 2026. It has to do with the emergency sitting of the Senate regarding the Electoral Act. And we've seen the outcome of that, but the core part of discussion, which is generating reactions from the nooks and crannies of the country and from the diaspora, has to do with the transmission of results from the polling units, from the polling station during an election, the real time. We've seen that Senate has given INEC the powers to transmit in terms of the use of electronics, and to also transmit manually, because they cited their reasons: lack of internet facility, lack of power, because we see a problem of power in Nigeria. Well, I won't do the talking, but that's the background. And I can assure you that Nigerians will continue to talk about it, because as we look forward to the 2027 election, where of course Mr. President and some governors will be elected, we might just be sitting on, I don't want to use the word gunpowder, but we should wait for litigations that will arise after the election. We have in the studio a very distinguished legal practitioner and professor of law, Professor Job Odion. Nice to have you with us today.
Good afternoon. It's good to be here again.
So you'll be giving us all the legal jargons and everything that has to do with the anticipated litigations from what has happened.
Well, we hope so.
Okay, we also have with us a very, very experienced, seasoned analyst and entrepreneur who knows the nitty-gritty. He's a man that always ensures that he casts his vote. He votes during the election, and he knows the significance of his vote. He knows the significance of the vote of the people. Join me, welcome, Omorogbe Ainwafo. Nice to have you.
Thank you very much,
Okay.
Rosa, for having me on your program this afternoon. And good afternoon, viewers.
The program promises to be educative, enlightening, and of course, gives room for discussion. We'll just get started with Professor Job Odion, your opening remarks. Because on Tuesday, all eyes on the screen,
Yes.
Nigerians monitored the proceedings,
Yes.
the plenary section
Yes.
that has to do with the amendment of the Electoral Act.
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the outcome?
Well, is it the outcome of the protest or the outcome of the legislation?
The
well,
legislation.
I imagine it will be both.
Yeah.
Well, like I observed in the little interview I did with your station,
Yes.
that very Tuesday, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. I think it's a win-win for everybody. I see it as a 50-50, margin of achievement.
Okay.
In terms of trying to get this real-time transmission, documented as it were, or being a piece of legislation. It's a 50-50. But I also want to say that the drama was really not necessary in the first place to me.
Okay.
It wasn't necessary, there are two things there are two sides to it. First, the issue of whether it is imperative now to have electronic transmission of results, or more or less electronic voting, e-voting, whether that is something we should have reached at this stage, 2026. But the other aspect is whether it's something you have to decree, like I said, by a piece of legislation. So those two aspects must be put together and put in the right perspectives. I think the whole razzmatazz about the days before Tuesday was the drama of put it in writing. It was called Show Me the S. For those who play Scrabble will know more, Show Me the S. Because we have become a country of doubting Thomases. The level of mistrust is so high. That in Nigeria now I want to put everything in black and white. Show me the S. Show me the S. And because that Show Me the S is what gives rise to litigation, as you are anticipating. We don't hope so.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like I said on that TV program, like we said elsewhere before, those countries that we reference as haven't gone to the level of electronic transmission, or even to the level of e-voting, 80%, even 100%. Those countries didn't achieve that by a piece of legislation, by a commanding order of the letter of legislation. It's not true.
Okay.
Some of them evolve through conventions, and some of them evolve through the discretion given to the electoral umpires, electoral bodies. It's because we don't trust our electoral umpires in Nigeria. We don't trust the electoral process we have because of previous experiences. That is why
Why do you have the problem of trust?
It's a Nigerian issue, really. And of course, it's based on antecedents. Promises have been made, broken. And then some persons have also misread some promises. There is a way you also misread somebody's body language or a promise, and you are expecting so much from it. Yes. Like we say in our legal practice, you don't expect somebody to fulfill a promise if you've not furnished consideration. So Nigerians are a country where we keep hoping and expecting so much. At times, we expect the unexpected, and then we start assuming that we have been failed. And so that also goes to the issue of how we manage our emotions too in this country. Okay. Otherwise, if you let the electoral power do what needs to be done, like I observed, the law will create a platform for the decision to thrive. It's okay, electoral voting, electoral process, transmission of results. INEC should do that and that. But INEC has to involve its own bylaws, you know, its own regulations to determine when and how they can implement such laws or enforce such laws. Because INEC is an institution. So you put, so once you put the right man there, because we don't trust the man that is there, yes. we have the habit of not trusting people because of our partisanship, our emotions and other sentimental, that in the secrecies, we just believe that the man there will not do the needful. So we believe that the man will not transmit when he ought to transmit. Therefore, you need to put it in law to compel him to transmit.
Okay.
So that's why people are protesting for reading that. And even, of course, the legislators know that if you put in law in that way, that commanding order, you're setting a booby trap for yourself and everybody. Okay. And I heard some people saying, oh, if they don't transmit results, that polling unit should be cancelled. Just the way it was this same drama that made people to say, okay, any polling unit where there's a fracas, where there's disruption, you cancel the polling unit. How did we have in the previous days, like 2010, where I was involved in electoral litigation, the politicians would go to a stronghold of the opponent and disrupt the election. Scatter everywhere there.
So as the result will not be counted.
And that's, so what will happen that if you commanded INEC and if this house didn't provide a leeway, didn't leave that discretion for INEC. As I was done in the card readers, the smart card, the BVAS and all that,
yes.
INEC should be able to determine when they ought to transmit results and when it is not practicable, you use the manual system. So both systems will complement each other. And so when it comes to results being credible, it's a combination of both processes. And then when it comes to the issue of litigation, as you said too, it's going to be a combination of both processes. So at the end of the day, you're not going to rely solely on transmission of results, knowing our peculiarities, knowing about human frailty, technological frailties, and just what are you? Because we need to do these things gradually. It's a process. Electoral process is not a one-off thing.
Okay.
So that is how
thank you very much, Professor.
View it from this onset.
Okay, we'll come back to you. Your opening remarks seem to have really given the clear
like a
perspective.
background.
Yes. Okay, let's get somebody who is not a lawyer, but who knows the political intrigues that exist in Nigeria. Well, what's your opening remark to regarding what the Senate has done as regards the Electoral Act?
Thank you once again.
Okay.
Personally, I don't see what has been done as extraordinary.
Okay.
It is supposed to be something they ought to have done, even without all the chariots, all the advertisement, all the protest and all. Like I always say, in this country, we should learn to do the right thing. Is it out of place for a senator or senators that we have elected to that exalted office to know what is actually good? Imagine the Senate president saying some of his local governments do not have networks and all that. It is very, very disappointing to see the person of the Senate president actually bringing up such submissions. Because in the first place, if those suggestions or those problems have been envisaged earlier before the issue, why would that kind of aspect not to be, why did they not at that time fix what were the predicaments? Because in the first place, this issue of election in Nigeria, everything is tied to our elections. Because you cannot expect somebody that is not elected properly to actually represent the people. And the lucrative nature of what they get there in public, up there,
yes,
makes the process to be a do-or-die affair. I've been opportune to participate in other elections outside this country. Okay. There'll be elections and people still go about their normal businesses. This issue of all you need in this part of the world is just to be elected once into Senate or into the House of Rep, and in that 4 years you have amassed wealth to yourself. That is why at this point we are still, everything is being tied to the issue of what comes out of the election. Actually, I was very embarrassed that the issue of the transmission of elections, the result of election, were like, it was becoming a global news. It was, to me, it was like a shame to a country like Nigeria. Are we supposed to debate something like that at the Senate level? Because senators are supposed to be men of integrity, men who are supposed to know what to do, irrespective of legislation. Yeah. Am I to be told that it is wrong for me to slap you as we are talking on air now? Am I to be told?
No.
Am I not supposed to know that it is wrong for me to assault you?
Ethically.
Ethically.
Yeah.
So the issue has gone beyond this issue of whether transmission, transfer, those words they were using. They are just trying to at least stay on the old order by way of you must be elected or you must be declared and all. It is the conspiracy of our candidates that is making all this issue to be a kind of a very big tree. When elections are being held in other jurisdictions, automatically you see results. You hardly see, even in the US, even in Europe, electoral litigations. Because if you are declared winner, your opponent will definitely know, Ewosa was better than me. But in this part,
and sometimes will congratulate you.
Congratulate you. But in this part of the country, because of what they take from that, their 4 years, is so much that it can people can die for it. I will at this point give kudos to our outgone ex-president Jonathan, who said that the blood of his victory is not more than the blood of any Nigerian. And when he was, even before the election result was concluded, he congratulated Muhammadu Buhari. So these are some of the kind of people we want at the helm of affairs, people that are not actually too power drunk. What do you actually, as a sitting senator or a sitting governor or a sitting president, what do you actually need to be re-elected? Good governance. You are not doing well for the people you are representing, and you want to be elected in the next election. That is the conspiracy is my concern. India has more than 1 billion people. They do elections, and you will not see one litigation. So the issue, like I've said in one of your programs, that until we have made that issue of the financial gains from some of these policies, some of these positions, we still continue to have desperate politicians that can even kill their wife. The important thing is for them to be declared winner and all that. I've seen cases where even during elections, you see politicians patronizing herbalists, churches. It's desperation. You will not see anybody or any politician in the US or in America going to church to pray even before election. They don't do that.
Thank you, Awanfo. Come back to you.
They can pray. They do privately. They will do privately.
If you see politicians moving from one church to the other, soliciting votes, you need to use your third eye to check his actions. We'll take a break now. After the break, Professor Joe Bodion, Awanfo Omorogbe, and I will discuss further.